Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to The Truth, where today we're going to do my predictions for the NFL this week. Just to give a quick recap, I'm going to go over the ranked teams for each conference. Chiefs right now are the number one ranked team, tied with the Ravens at 7-2 and 2-1 in their division. The Jaguars are right behind just because they have that bye week, so they don't have that win. So they're not technically tied, but they really are because they have two losses. They're at third in the conference, in the AFC conference, with 6-2, 2-1 division, and then the Dolphins are fourth, 6-3 and 2-1 in the division. Let me know what y'all think about the Dolphins. There's been a lot of controversy saying that they can't win. They can't beat winning teams, and then that I don't know how true this is, but apparently their record against teams who they've won against, those teams' records don't compare to the teams who they've lost against who've won. It's like something crazy or something. Like the wins and losses, something crazy. Anyways, tell me what y'all think. The third, or did I say third? The fifth team, sixth team, and seventh team are all in the same division with the Ravens, which is wild. Dog, I think I kind of hope it ends this way because that'd be the first time in NFL history, I believe, we'd have an entire division make it to the playoffs, and that'd be so cool and so crazy to see. I'd love it, and I think that'd be awesome. With that being said, Steelers are 5 because they are undefeated in that division, and they're 5-3. The Bengals are right behind. Oh, no, sorry, not the Bengals. The Browns are right behind them at 5-3, 1-2 in the division, and the Bengals are in the 7th seed at 5-3 and 0-2 in the division. Getting to the NFC, we have the Eagles with the first seed, 8-1 and 3-0. The Eagles are doing really well this year. The Lions 6-2 with the second seed. The 49ers tied with the Seahawks, but they are undefeated in the division with the third seed at 5-3. The Saints 5-4, 1-1 in their division. And the Seahawks right behind the Saints, 5-3 and 1-1 in their division. The Cowboys 5-3 and 1-1 in their division, and the Vikings, with the 7th seed, 5-4 and 2-0 in their division. Now let's get into the games. Starting off, we have the Cardinals versus the Falcons. The one thing I do kind of know who I like in this matchup. The one thing I will know is Kyler Murray, from what I'm seeing, is not on the injury list this week. So I expect him to start. With that being said, Drake London's questionable. Matt Collins is questionable. Grady Jarrett, of course, we all know is on injury reserve. Richie Grant is questionable. Other than that, give me the Falcons. And here's why. I think the Falcons go into go into Arizona and win for two reasons. One, they need a win. They desperately need a win against arguably the worst team in the NFL. And two, this is going to be Kyler Murray's first game back. So chemistry issues, I expect. I expect a couple of things to be off with that offense. They are a little banged up too. With that being said, do I think it will be close? Probably. The Cardinals like to have close games. They have gotten blown out, but the Cardinals do like to have close games. That is typically what they do. They've upset some top-tier teams too. So keep an eye on that. It could go the other way, but I expect it's more in the Falcons' favor. Going into our next game, we have the Baltimore Ravens, and the Ravens are playing the Browns. This is a game I'd love to watch. Browns versus Ravens. If the Ravens win, they're 3-1 in their division, and that's pretty impactful because what that means is they keep that second seed and could get that first seed. Now, with that being said, Odell did not practice due to a knee issue, questionable. Michael Pierce, questionable. Tyus Bowers is out. David Ojabo's out. J.K. Dobbins, injury reserve. Other than that, nothing crazy. Going to the Cleveland Browns. DeJuan Jones is questionable. Greg Newsome's questionable. Pierre Strong's questionable. David Njoku's questionable. Nick Chubb is out. I like these defenses. I think give me the Ravens here. They could swap, but give me the Ravens here just because I like how the offense is doing, and when that offense has that connection, they're dominant, man. I mean, they're hard to beat when the offense is connected. I think the one thing is what's going for the Browns is you do have Myles Garrett, but on the other side you have Lamar Jackson, and that's what's kind of like. I think they can do things to where Lamar can. He's not going to avoid Myles Garrett, but can be put in better situations under that offense. I know Odell could maybe not play. That's up in the air. But they do have also other threats like Mark Andrews, like the receiver they drafted, and then Rashad Bateman as well. I mean, yeah, they drafted a receiver in the first round. Like they have options too to keep other than Odell. So that's why I think they have. That's why I think they'll win. Plus, they're also at home, which I think definitely helps. The next team is the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills play the Broncos. The Bills have to win this game. I like the Bills in this matchup, and they have to win this game. Here's why: they need to make the playoffs. They're at home, and they're not against a good team. Going in the Broncos' favor, um, they do get a bye, but the Bills really aren't that banged up. AJ Terrell does suck. He's questionable. Micah Hyde's questionable. They've been surviving without Dawson Knox. Chase White's been out. Matt Malone's been out. Like a lot of these guys who are out have already been out, and they've kind of been dealt with, and they've kind of lived with it. And just to show you the Broncos real quickly, Brandon Johnson, Quan Jing, Greg Dulcich, and same old. Tim Patrick. I don't know if Jalen Virgil was there before. I'll have to check in on that. But with that being said, I mean, I like what they're I like what the Bills are doing. I think they're going to do really well. I think it's a must win for them too. So I mean, I like them. Going into our next game, we have the Carolina Panthers against the Chicago Bears. Here's the thing with the Panthers: they are injured. They're injured. Like you can see, like they have a lot of guys out. Yetur Gross-Matos, Jeremy Chin, Ian Thomas, Shaq Thompson, Brady Christensen. Sorry if I butchered that. J.C. Horn, Justin Houston, DJ Chark is doubtful. Brian Burns is out, ruled with a concussion. C.J. Henderson also out. Von Bell's questionable. Xavier Woods is questionable. This is a very injured team, especially on that defense. That defense is really injured. Going against this Bear team who has a high potential, but they're so. The one thing I will give is Tremaine Edmonds is out and Justin Fields is doubtful. I think those are two big things. With that being said, they are home and they are playing one of the worst one of the worst teams in the league right now. Give me the Bears. I think even if they win or lose this game, I really doesn't think they affect them because they had the Panthers first round pick. So I don't really think it makes them. But ideally, you'd like to win if you are the Bears. Oh, sorry. Wrong click. Going into the next game, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Bengals are going to be playing the Houston Texans. I like the Bengals in this matchup. I know the Texans have been playing really well, but so are the Bengals. My one big thing is Jamar Chase, questionable, who was a non-participant with a back injury. That's my one big thing. They really love that. And T. Higgins was limited in practice. If they do lose this game, it's going to be because the lack of receivers' health this week. Going to Houston, they have a fair share of injuries, though. Robert Woods is questionable. Jimmy Ward's questionable. Lemmy Tunsil's questionable. Will Anderson Jr., non-participant Wednesday. I think that's a big, impactful one. They have a lot of guys who are questionable and stuff, and that's why it's like I have more faith in the Bengals, especially at home. I guess this is just going to be a home week. I'm picking a lot of home teams. Usually I pick a lot of away teams. So, all right, did the Browns. The Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is playing the Giants. I think Dallas should be favored in this game. Like if Dallas loses, it's going to be very disappointing. The one thing is though, we already know Lane Vander Esch, Trevon Diggs, CJ Goodwin. We already know they've been injured. My main thing is Tyron Smith questionable. I think they really do need Tyron Smith to play. They'd like Tyron Smith to play. They do play the Giants, who don't have the best offense. That offense really does run through Saquon Barkley. And we're just going to scroll down to the New York Giants. Adoree Jackson did not participate with a neck injury, questionable. Andrew Thomas, questionable. Daniel Jones, injury reserve. And that's the big reason why I think the Cowboys are heavily favored. And if they lose, it's going to be very disappointing. Don't think they will, like the Cowboys in this matchup. Scrolling back up. We have the Detroit Lions. They're taking on the Chargers. I think the Lions are favored in this matchup. The one thing is Chauncey Gardner still on injury reserve. Donovan Peoples-Jones, who they trade for, he was limited. That's a backup guy who could bring some depth. Other than that, nothing shocking. Nothing really shocking. They still have that offense. You'd like to see them have a good game. Going to the Los Angeles Chargers, on the other hand, are still not as injured, but I think a big injury. Well, I think two big injuries. Corey Linsley, that sucks. He's out. But Mike Williams. Mike Williams is such a big part of that receiving core because you have two big receivers who can. Well, you have one big contested receiver and one big, more athletic receiver, and then you have a receiver who's a great route runner. So you have a mix, and when all of them are playing, it blends really well. But when you're missing one, it kind of sucks. It really does. Especially someone who's as good as Mike Williams. He did tear his ACL, which sucks. And I think that's going to be a big thing. I think this is going to be more of a higher scoring game if Mike Williams was there. With that being said, I like the Lions away. Scrolling to our next team. The Green Bay Packers. Packers have been struggling lately, but are they on a bye? No, they're not on a bye. I don't know. I thought they were on a bye. They're playing the Steelers. Yeah, it's probably going to be a lower scoring game. Kenny Clark is questionable, limited at practice. Jair, questionable. He was absent from practice with a shoulder injury. Elgton Jenkins, questionable. John Runyon, questionable. Quay Walker did not practice. Aaron Jones, limited in practice. Eric Stokes, David Bakhtiari is on injury reserve. Some key guys. Going to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh series. Hayward was limited. Pat Freiermuth is on injury reserve. Minka Fitzpatrick is actually questionable and did not play. With that being said, they're limited. If they do play, I like the Steelers' ability to stop the run. They do get a little bit longer to prepare for the Packers too. So I mean, if Cameron Hayward's playing, I think they are able to stop that run because they do have a good D-line and they do have a good defense. My main thing is, can they just score enough? And I think since they're at home, they will be able to. The Indianapolis Colts are Indianapolis Colts. Oh, there we go. They're playing the Patriots. I think the Colts are Colts. The Colts are excuse me for my mix-up of words today. I don't know what's going on. The Colts are favored in this matchup. In my personal opinion, against the Patriots. I don't like that Patriots offense. It's bad. It really is. I think part of it's scheme, part of it's player-wise. But I like this Colts team. Josh Downs was a non-participant, something to keep an eye on. Drew Ogletree, also non-participant. And Zaire Franklin, Zaire Franklin's a good linebacker. He's also questionable. Anthony Richardson's on injury reserve. Other than that, Joe Every sucks too. He's on injury reserve. Going to the New England Patriots, who have a long list. Christian Gonzalez, Calvin Anderson, Trent Brown's questionable, Christian Barmore's questionable, Jonathan Jones is questionable. Demario Douglas was a limited practice. Devontae Parker, concussion limited. Miles Bryant, limited. Tyrone Wheatley Jr., injury reserve. Look, this offense is already beat up. And when you have, this offense is already bad. And when you have issues at depth and guys who are limited, it's tough. Give me the Colts away. Going to our next matchup, the Jaguars. Did I say the Jaguars away? I have not. The game of the week. Both these teams are coming off the bye. So it's fair. It's fair even. And I think whoever wins this game is going to keep that higher seed. Or not higher seed. Whoever wins this game is going to make a statement win from each conference. That's what I mean. The Jacksonville Jaguars, Tyus Campbell, questionable, limited. Andrew Sisco, also limited. Zay Jones, limited. Ezra Cleveland, he was traded. He's limited. He's questionable. It's going to be interesting to see what that foot. Cleveland's a pretty good guard. Other than that, Leonard Taylor sucks. Parker Washington sucks. That's good key depth. Other than that, nothing crazy. Going on to the 49ers. I think I have to scroll. There we go. Not a long list, but there's some key players. Going to Trent Williams, who's questionable. We'll see with that ankle. Ray-Ray McCloud has made a couple plays for them. Nothing crazy. Other than that, nothing crazy. I like the 49ers. They're more healthier, even though they are playing away. If Trent Williams plays, I love the 49ers in this matchup. If not, it's going to be interesting to see. But having that receiving core back up to shape, getting their number one receiver back who's so dynamic, as paired along with Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, with their tight end, I love what they got going on. Give me the 49ers away. Going into our next game. So I had that song stuck in it. Tell me if you guys know that song just from me singing it. Going to the Las Vegas Raiders, playing on the New York Jets. What are their records actually? Raiders are 4-5 and Jets are 4-4. Close record team. Oops, sorry, wrong click again. Marcus Peters, non-participant. Nate Hobbs, limited. Max Crosby, limited. That's something to keep an eye on. David Njoku did not practice. Something to keep an eye on. Austin Hooper, limited. Also something to keep an eye on. Nothing really crazy after that. Going on to the New York Jets. Jets, Jets. Quincy Williams, limited. Alan Lazard, also limited. Mekhi Becton's questionable. I think Mekhi Becton plays. That definitely helps him. Aaron Rodgers, of course, out. And everything we know else we've been knowing. The Raiders did have some success. But I like that Jets defense. I think they can really mess up the Raiders quarterback and really give him a couple fits this game. Give me the Jets. Scroll down some. Part 2, encore. Going on to our next team, I skipped the Kansas City Chiefs, who I believe are on a bye. So, just quickly talking over about the Chiefs. Some injuries to keep out. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out. Nick Bolton, injury reserve. Justin Ross, out. These guys who are out potentially could be ready for next week. We just have to keep monitoring it. Ross is on the commissioner's exempt list Friday. Was placed on the commissioner's exempt list Friday. Other than that, some guys just want to keep getting healthy. The big one you want to get back is Nick Bolton with that wrist. An extra week. Nick Bolton's key part of that defense. He really is. With that being said, moving on to our actual next team, which is the Los Angeles Rams, who, funny enough, are also on a bye, as shown here. Some things to watch out. Matthew Stafford sounded optimistic Monday with his thumb will be back after Rams week. That's something to keep an eye on. I think Matthew Stafford with Stetson Bennett being out, you're on your third string quarterback. And I think Stetson Bennett's on an illness. I feel like he's been on an illness for a while now, actually. Other than that being said, you just hope either one comes back at this point, because having either one, I think that's pretty big. Ernest Jones out also does suck. But like I said before, you just want him to get healthy and come back. The Miami Dolphins, I believe, are also on a bye, in which they are, and the Eagles. And you keep that in mind. The Dolphins, Jalen Waddle, questionable with a knee injury. He said the coach said it was definitely still sore, that it should keep being monitored, and that it's going to keep being monitored. Hopefully, with this bye week, he can come back to be Jalen Waddle, because we all want to see that. The good news with Devon Achane, no setbacks, so he's staying on task. Robert Hunt is questionable. Hopefully, with that bye, he can get full go. Other than that, nothing really crazy. The actual next team is the Minnesota Vikings, and this team also has a long injury list. Marcus Davenport, injury reserve. Kirk Cousins, injury reserve. Knocking out all the injury reserve guys right now. Justin Jefferson, injury reserve. Cam Akers, injury reserve. Two big things as well. Not with Justin Jefferson, along with Justin Jefferson. TJ Hawkinson, limited. KJ Osborne, non-participant. Jaren Hall, concussion, non-participant. So that means you're getting Joshua Dobbs is playing. Here's the thing, though. If TJ Hawkinson doesn't play, they have Jordan Addison and I'm trying to think who else would they have other than Jordan Addison in that passing game. And that's big because if you can't pass the ball, you don't want to be one-dimensional, especially since a good team like New Orleans, they're going to commit more to the box. They're going to run probably more contain and blitz or have a linebacker extra to run contain. Have Cam Jordan work on the inside against a guard, which you don't want because Cam Jordan is still physically dominant. He might not be as fast, but physically dominant, or he can move a guard pretty well. He's had lots of sacks whenever they run stunts and stuff. You don't want that. You don't want this to be a defensive game for New Orleans because that's how New Orleans wins their games right now. With that being said, moving on to New Orleans, Adam Prentice, injury reserve. He's been on there. Peyton Turner, injury reserve, been on there. Benjamin, been on there. Andrew Dowell, been on there. Some things to keep an eye on. Kendre Miller didn't take part in practice Wednesday. Kendre Miller isn't a big part of New Orleans offense, but he does in those spurts when he does come in. He has a very explosive tendency. Whenever he gets the ball. So to have him not play for Minnesota is pretty impactful. I think having an extra running back list that you have to prepare for. Now it's just Joel Williams, who's a battering ram, and Alvin Kamara out of the backfield. A lot easier to manage. Also, Isaiah Foskey not playing. Foskey really doesn't have a big role this year with New Orleans, so that's also good for Minnesota. Other than that, look, New Orleans is super healthy. That's why I'm going to take them in this game. I like how they're doing. I like how they're looking. They feel a lot better, with how injured this Vikings team is. I don't have faith. They traded their guard. My main thing is, who are you going to double? Are you going to chip Carl Granderson and double the inside? Or are you going to double Carl Granderson and leave one of the defensive tackles for New Orleans one-on-one? Because the thing with New Orleans defensive tackles is they're not, except for their first round pick, Brian Brzee, they're not really amazing pass rushers, but they get after it. They're gonna get after it constantly, and after a while, something's bound to happen with them. Someone's bound to get open, and start chasing the quarterback. Someone's bound to do that after so many attempts with that New Orleans Saints team, with that New Orleans Saints defense. So with that being said, they do also like to bring in Demario Davis, Pete Warner to blitz, who are pretty effective pass rushers when it comes to that part. So keeping that in mind, just more nuggets of information. I like this New Orleans team. I think they are more favored, even though I think Vegas has the Vikings winning this. Usually Vegas is right. So I could be wrong on this one. I talked about the Patriots, the Giants. Are talked about. Just mentioning again, the Eagles, Rams, Chiefs, and Dolphins are on by. Just a quick reminder. Just talked about Eagles. We'll talk about the Eagles real quick. Nakobe Dean, diagnosed with a Lindsfrake sprain. Not really fun to deal with. Will likely be placed on injury reserve, although he is not right now. They do have that by Bradley Roby, by Hurts. He appeared to be in pain the second half of that Cowboys game. I know he did kind of wobble off a little weirdly. Good news is they have the bye. Also, Dallas Goedert is expected to have surgery soon after a fractured forearm. So, getting him surgery, having him heal, just extra week. Just extra week for these guys to get back is good for them. I think I talked about the Seahawks. If I'm not, I could be wrong, but I think we covered the Seattle Seahawks. No, we haven't. It's the Seahawks and the Bucks. Okay, so the Seahawks this week are playing the Commanders. The Seahawks are already favored, but just to show you, this is the Seahawks injury list, and it's lengthy. Like, here's the thing though, we're getting into the season where guys are getting beat up. Some key guys just to highlight: Kenneth Walker didn't practice. Good running back for them. Excuse me. Charles Cross, questionable. Didn't get any really information with that. Jackson Smith-Njigba, non-participant, something to watch out for. Tyler Lockett, limited, something to watch out for. Other than that, nothing crazy. A lot of depth. A lot of depth. For the Commanders, Curtis Samuel, limited, something to watch out with that toe. Jahan Dotson, questionable. Ricky Stromberg's out. Nothing after that. I think the big one is Curtis Samuel. If this team wants to compete with the Seahawks, they need to be able to score. Seahawks are at home, though. They do have that 12th man. I think that's going to be really impactful for them. Give the Seahawks at home. I think they're going to will themselves to a victory. I'm going into our last, as you can see, our last game of the week. We have the Bucks versus the Titans. Scrolling up to Tennessee. Algier did not practice. That's big for the Bucks. Tannehill not starting anymore, so so with how important that is. Sean Murphy-Bunting, pretty impactful, non-participant. Traylon Burks won't practice with a concussion. Don't expect him to play. He is questionable. Other than that, Caleb Farley's been out. He got moved to the PUP list Tuesday. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Going to the Titans. Tampa Bay. I don't know what's wrong with me, guys. It's late, I guess. I don't know. Vita Vea was limited. Carlton Davis missed. Jair Dean did not practice. If Carlton Davis and Jair Dean aren't playing, I think that's really big for the Titans because they've shown they're willing to throw the football. And I don't know if you know this, but D-Hop can still catch it. D-Hop, and they have another big body receiver, and they got a good running back. And with that defensive line, it's going to be really impactful to watch. Give me Tampa at home. Oh, the Titans do have those extra couple of days. This is a hard one. This is actually a hard one for me. I felt confident with a lot of the other ones. This one's a hard one. Give me Tampa at home, but the Titans could also win. Titans do struggle away. That is their big nick, is they don't win away games. So give me the Titans away. Finishing out, I have the Ravens with the first seed at 8-2, Steelers with the 5th seed at 6-3, Bengals with the 6th seed at 6-3, Browns at 5-4. I have the Chiefs with the 2nd seed at 7-2, Chargers 4-5, Raiders 4-6, Broncos 3-6. I have the Jaguars 6-3 with the 3rd seed, the Colts 5-5, the Texans 4-5, and the Titans 3-6. The Bills with the 7th seed at 6-4, the Jets 5-4, and the Patriots 2-8. I have the Eagles with the 1st seed in the NFC 8-1, the Cowboys with the 6th seed 6-3, Washington 4-6, Giants 2-8. I have the Lions with the 2nd seed at 7-2, the Vikings with Lions with the 2nd seed, the Vikings with the 7th seed at 5-5, the Packers at 3-6, and the Bears at 3-7. I have the the 49ers and the Seahawks tied. I have the 49ers with the 3rd seed at 6-3, the Steelers with the 5th seed at 6-3. I'm sorry, the Seahawks with the 5th seed at 6-3. I don't know if you know why I'm laughing, is because it was just like last week, they're tied. The Rams 3-6, and the Cardinals 1-9. I have the Saints with the 4th seed at 6-4, the Falcons at 5-5, the Bucks at 4-5, and the Panthers at 1-8. And that's my predictions for this week. That's my rankings. Let me know, what do you like? What do you dislike? Who do you agree with? Who do you not agree with? Any comments? Any concerns? What players do you think are going to be more impactful? What guys do you think? What teams do you think have better quality depth, which are going to overcome some of their issues? Let me know. Let me know if you liked how I'm doing my videos this week. If you want any changes, also let me know. Other than that, I will see y'all next time.